Screenwriters Beat! Woo!
Yay! Hi, everyone.
Hi, guys. Welcome back to episode 18 about obligatory scenes. Yep, we're getting there. We're going to end up with 20 this season.
Whoa, very good.
Nice round number. I know, I have to.
24, like a regular full season, right?
Like that 23.
Yeah, wait. We got a full season order.
That's true. Well, maybe we'll get it in. We'll see. Please welcome my very talented panel of working screenwriters, the very funny Eric Ingram.
Hello, hello, world, and I am blessed to be on this panel of, with such illustrious and distinguished writers. Yes, I do. I write action and comedies, and writing is what I do, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I do.
That's what you do. Also, writing comedy is Heidi Mastrogiovanni.
Thank you
guys your web series
so much.
Going?
It's going great, and thank you so much. It's so great to be here with all of you and with our wonderful audience. And laugh on, laugh on.
Great.
Laugh off.
We also have Jeff Burns. Hello, Jeff. Now, you also write comedy, this for Hero Variety.
I do. I have a superhero comedy called Super Knocked Up, which is a web series I did. But I also love sci-fi and action and writing all that fun stuff, too.
Cool. Nice to have you back. And Margaret Risley, rom-coms. I know you write some really great horror stories, too.
Yeah, I like a bit of everything. Hi, everybody. Thrillers, rom-coms, horror, anything. Yeah, most of it's got a bit of comedy in it, too, except the horror. Yeah.
No, you're not going to write a Scream?
No, not today.
Not today.
Okay. Not today. And probably the least funny person on our panel, Nicole Jones-Dion.
Wow.
Hey!
Ouch.
Backhanded insult.
Sorry.
My feelings are hurt now.
I didn't mean it that way.
It's fine. I don't make you laugh, but I will give you nightmares. I will give you nightmares. And then we'll see who's laughing.
Take that.
You're funny in person in a good way.
Suck.
Okay, I can't save that one. Hi, I'm Ann Kimbrough insulting my panel. I should write some insult comedy. I could be.
There you go.
There you go. Well, let's talk about our topic today, which is obligatory scenes, which we all write genre, and there are certain scenes that you have to have in certain, well, all movies, but also certain genres. So I thought maybe you guys could talk about your genres specifically, or even just scenes that you know that you've got to write. So it's really a cool way to quickly outline a story, isn't it? That you write down the obligatory scenes. Heidi, you're nodding your head. Do you do that?
Yes, I need an outline. And I always write down, this scene has to be the funny scene, and this scene has to be the funny scene, and then it has to be followed by the funny scene, and then I need a funny scene. But also, in addition to, for comedy, I think, for me, every story has to be about relationships and about change. So I know I'm being general, but you have to take your protagonist on a journey. I saw a movie. I'm so desperate to name the name of it, and I can't because I shouldn't. But it was written by an Oscar-winning screenwriter starring an Oscar-winning actor, and the main character did not change 1 ounce during the movie. And I honestly thought, why am I being told this story? So be sure you have change, and be sure you have relationships, because I think every story is about relationships.
Cool. Jeff, how about you? Obligatory scenes that, besides saying it's a funny scene.
Right. Well,
in superheroes, you're writing superhero stories, there've got to be some moments where they're acting super.
Yeah, yeah. So I think the kind of stuff I write, like if you know action or superhero stuff, and this is something I think Robert McKee actually might call this the obligatory scene for the whole movie. But you know, so obviously near the end of your movie, you need to have the protagonist and your antagonist, right? They got to meet. They got to have some huge battle or some kind of huge conflict where everything's been building to this. Whatever they battle out in some way and somebody wins, right? So in other words, you got to see these two at some after all this stuff that you saw throughout the first two acts, they got to come together in the end, right, and have this huge final conflict. That's what he talks about, which I think is very true for the kind of stuff I write.
Yeah, very, very much so. Eric, now you're doing some action also that would cross over into what Jeff's talking about.
Right. Between that action and comedy, to me, there always has to be the scene where the protagonist realizes that the way he's going about getting whatever he wants is totally wrong.
Totally wrong.
Yep, totally wrong. He's going about it the wrong way. Of course, we can get back and talk about the wound and the flaw, but just for sake of the conversation, it's the moment where he realizes that everything, the way he's doing things is hurting everything and everyone around him, and then there has to be that dark night of the soul, and then he realizes, plan C, let's go do it a different way. So that's
I like that one too. Margaret, how about you?
Yeah, getting back to what Heidi was saying about character change, there have to be scenes, like we have to see the character growth, but that we have to have those scenes that show that it's some sort of trigger that changes the way the character behaves so that we can actually see the growth happening, not a sudden change from one mindset to another. We have to see a gradual, it doesn't have to be a gradual, but a progression from the way they start out to the way they end. So there have to be little triggers, even if it's just snatches of dialogue or something, but better to be some sort of action, but something that triggers the change in them and the way they react to it.
A good add-on to that. Good. Not Nicole. What are some obligatory scenes for horror?
Well, in horror, it's like you always have to have the harbinger of doom, right? Somewhere in the beginning, the guy who says, whatever you do, don't go into the spooky house. And the kids are like, oh, that sounds like an awesome idea. Let's go check out that spooky old house.
Let's get killed.
Yeah. So that's kind of one of the cliches that we have. And then another one that really irritates me is the false death at the end, where it's like, oh, we stabbed the guy, and now we're done, and we're going to turn our back to him, and then he always pops up, and he's not dead yet, and that's another kind of horror trope. Yeah.
Well, you bring up a good point that a lot of obligatory scenes have been done badly or done so often that you don't really want to see them anymore. But if you're in a movie, if you're writing a rom-com, there's got to be a kiss. If you're writing action,
you got to have the meet cute, right?
You need your chase. Yeah. So how do you make those new? Because if there's something you got to have, that scene, how do you make it different and special?
That's the challenge.
That's the challenge, Eric.
Therein lies the challenge.
Does it come out of your source material? Do you take it from there to make it newer?
Well, it should come out. To me, it should come out of the character.
Absolutely.
It should come out of.
I agree.
So, yeah, okay. So let's take just like the rom-com that everyone was talking about. So you got to have a meet cute, right? As they say, right? Got to do that. Okay. So I think where people mess up is, I see this meet cute in every movie, so I'm not going to do it, so that I will be considered different. No, what most likely will happen is they don't understand the genre. That's what the other side will say. You don't understand. So, but let's have a meet cute. All right, so you have two people. They start out with their lives and what they need and and about page 5, 7, somewhere around there, they bump into each other at the grocery store. Okay, right? All right. So that you've seen that 100 times. So you got to bring these two people together. So how would you do it? Where you go into their character and their world and kind of find out what's a unique way that I haven't seen two people meet that is also realistic. You know what I mean? So, like I said, if it's a shy guy and a cocky girl, the femme fatale girl who has every guy after her. So how would you do that? So I would, the first thing that just came to me was somehow I would have this shy guy be cleaning the girl's bathroom to show what kind of life he had, and the girl comes in, use the bathroom, she didn't have any toilet paper, and something happens and they have a conflict. Like, I just thought of that right now.
Right now, write that one down.
Right, not to say that is great, but I haven't seen a meeting like that. I haven't. That doesn't mean it hasn't been. I just haven't. But that's what I mean. That's where you kind of start. Start with the character. I guess that's a long-winded answer.
Okay. Well, and I think you could also start with the location too, because especially a chase scene. Well, I think character could obviously add to a chase scene, but you know, a chase scene. I can remember one time Paul Newman did one, and they were in a motorized little wheelchair thing. So that was, you know.
Right.
That was unique.
I have a rom-com that I'm not trying to be disgusted on purpose. Okay, this is what happens. They meet and they get a colon hydrotherapy. The beautiful girl is the nurse doing the colon cleanse.
What is it with you in bathrooms and enemas?
I know, right? It's coming out. You know what I'm saying? Like they meet. Really like this is the girl of her dreams.
Coming out.
Right? There's no way around it, right? So because I'm like, just like you're saying, I have never seen anyone meet at this kind of place. So, okay, so the nurse is beautiful and the guy is having issues, and she's the girl who's gonna procure this thing.
That's how I meet a lot of my girlfriends.
You know what I mean? But the metaphor was that the guy was full of it. That was the whole metaphor where it came from. So literally, sorry. You know, yeah. So I said it was this guy. I wasn't trying to be, but that's what happened.
Well, multiple layers. You're layering that story. Exactly. I know.
See? There we go.
All right. Well, that's pretty cool. Well, actually, we're going to do a little game that I think we'll segue into because we're going to have some obligatory scenes and then some. This is our new game called Build the Outline Game. Dun, dun, dun.
All right, here we go.
So it's going to be full of obligatory scenes. So if you can, say what part of an outline or story you are giving up. So, like, I'll start out with fade in. And then I'm going to call on someone that has to take the story to the next logical plot line or outline or beat, whatever you want to call it. We're kind of beating out this made-up story that hopefully won't have a bathroom in it. Who knows?
I'm done. I quit.
Well, maybe we should start in the bathroom. Okay. All right, you ready for this? All right, so I'll start with fade in. We're in a forest at night, and two kids are running away from disaster. Heidi, you can go next.
The disaster is in the form of their crazy uncles, Zach Galifianakis and Will Ferrell, together again. And it's a Halloween party, and everybody's having a fabulous time. But Zach and Will just can't get their lives together. They don't have girlfriends. They don't have jobs. They're really just such schlubs. But their kids, those nieces and nephews, really love them. So they have a lot to live up to, but they're not living up to it yet.
And who do you pass it to? You have to.
I'm going to pass it to my friend Nicole.
Nicole.
Oh, God. So they're in the woods, and they, as they're running, they trip over this ancient Indian burial ground. That's a really common thing to find in the woods. And they see all kinds of like weird animal voodoo fetishes and stuff in the trees, and they're thinking, oh, this is where we're going to find the solution to all our problems. Because this is clearly a source of power, or a place of power, even though the Harbinger of Doom told us to avoid this little burial ground area in the middle of the woods. But they're there now, having fun. Do some horrible ritual. Yeah.
Okay. So
all right, Eric. Eric, take it from there.
Eric.
All right. And so while they're playing around doing the thing, they find this ancient object.
Voodoo doll.
Object, the voodoo, voodoo doll. Well, we'll go with it. Voodoo doll. They find this doll, and they start playing around with it, thinking it's cool, and they go home and get on the internet to find out what it is, or who, what it's from, where it's from, what does it mean, and what they find out is anyone who picks this up and removes it from the burial ground, their family has become cursed. I pass it on to Jeff.
Jeff. Are we in the second act yet? I think that's a turning point.
No. Yes. I don't even think we had 10 yet.
Well, long way to go. Okay. So they find out the voodoo doll was cursed. What they soon realized is though it was actually made by an alien race, and by screwing around with the voodoo doll, they've activated it, and these huge spaceships appear over their house, and aliens beam down into their bedroom, and then Margie.
Thanks, Jeff. So the aliens round up the entire family and suck them up into the spaceships and zoom them off to Australia. There we go. About that. Where we have no problems with space because we've got so much of it, and they start breeding in the outback where there's no water and no food. There you go, Anne.
To me?
Yeah.
But luckily they still have the voodoo doll. And they realized that they can use it to make a wish. Which just doesn't really work with thrillers. But the wish turns on them. And suddenly evil things start coming out of the outback ground and surrounding the whole family. And Will Ferrell and Zach Galifianakis are trying to do a dance to distract him when Heidi.
Well, of course, they can't really dance very well because they're hammered.
Of course.
Here. And they fall down, and before the evil creatures swarm over them, they see the look of terrible disappointment in their nieces and nephews' eyes because their nieces and nephews had been counting on them. So even though they're hammered, they muster their last bit of courage and strength to defeat the evil creatures by taking the voodoo doll and dressing it in a little Bavarian lederhosen outfit and humiliating it and feeding it beer, and it becomes drunk. And then the aliens become drunk, and they're more drunk than Zach and Will, and thus they have power over them.
And who wants to end this? Is that the end, or?
And then everything's fine.
Well, then they have to return home. So.
All right, so you ended up for us, Eric. Here.
Okay, so they everyone's drunk and they become rulers of the drunk alien race, and then what they do is they now that they have 1,000 aliens under their rule, they get back on the space.
Making beer.
And they go back home, and then all the aliens kind of work at a Hooters, right? They become they become like Hooter waitresses, and then Zach and Will become these billionaire like restaurateurs and all this kind of stuff, and the kids work in the stores and restaurants and all that kind of stuff, and then the Indian burial ground, like right, exactly. The main restaurant is on that burial ground where they initially found the voodoo doll.
Yeah, and then the closing image would be the voodoo doll in this little Bavarian outfit doing like a little chicken dance.
Right.
Yeah.
Like Sybil, like the whole Sybil thing, the little Sybil.
Yeah.
And then someone puts it in a little envelope and mails it out, and we see someone else get it and go, oh.
Exactly.
Package is dancing.
And hence the sequel begins. Yeah.
It's a franchise. It's a franchise.
It's a franchise. It never ends. It's like it's out there. It's like The Ring or all that stuff. It just keeps.
Yep.
It is.
Well into the next.
Yeah,
All right.
it's
See?
the
Boom.
ET of the 21st century.
There it is.
Exactly.
Coming to a theater near you soon. No.
Amazing.
Quite the experiment, guys. Quite the experiment.
But check this out, Ann. Oh, I'm
yeah.
sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Now I was going to say now, all right, so if everyone can kind of remember kind of what we did, right? Okay. So where was the inciting incident?
Well,
that would have been either
you with the voodoo, right?
the voodoo. It would have been the voodoo. Yeah, we're probably
Yeah.
removing the voodoo doll from the cemetery.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine. Okay, and then what would have kicked it into the second act?
The appearance of the aliens. I would say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sucking them up.
So we're in the second, and then what would have been the midpoint?
when they're in Australia trying to dance for the aliens.
Okay.
When they take
we might
control.
have skipped that. What,
Okay,
Margie?
and then
When they take control over the aliens.
and they take control here. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that would have been your Act 2 turning point, right? Because that's what.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, and then the all is lost.
Is the rise of the evil creatures.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that would be.
Okay.
We might need a little adjustment to our outline.
No.
Yeah.
Revision.
It's a first draft.
But at
It's a
least-
first draft.
But at least
Vomit draft. It's a vomit draft.
Right.
It's
You can
vomit
see
draft.
exactly. You can see exactly where things are starting to turn and line up. Though even what we just made up, you can still see the story. It's still
Right, and then you can go back and adjust it accordingly.
of course.
Yeah.
There we go. See, it works.
Well, it works. We got all the obligatory in for multiple genres. I think that was an action, thriller, horror, comedy.
Exactly.
We forgot the love story. Well, maybe Will and Zach.
Will and Zach hook up with the aliens.
Yeah, of course.
Ooh, yes,
Some alien
yes.
babes, right? Right.
Will and Zach love
Well,
their
guys,
beer.
we have. I'm sorry. What was that?
Will and Zach love their beer. That's the love story.
Oh, there he is. There. Brilliant.
Right. There we go.
Well, that was a great experiment for us to do. We'll have to try it again. I think that's one of those. It's kind of Eric was saying it's an improv routine or exercise, right?
Right.
And we're pretty good since none of us are in improv except Eric. Well, Heidi, you've had.
Oh, Heidi, come on. Jeff, too. Come on.
Jeff. The
And
rest of us.
Nicole, you are very funny regardless of what age.
Thank you. That's why you're my favorite.
Hey, I said she was funny in person. No, I stand corrected. Good job. We had one quick question. This is a simple one from the audience. Are there better times of the year to sell a spec? Or are there times you should just say, they're off? Anybody had experience with this? Like, do you pitch people during the holidays?
I mean,
think
personally, I mean, everyone, there's a Hollywood time schedule, okay? So usually probably from about Thanksgiving on, holidays and vacations start.
Sundance. Thanksgiving through Sundance.
Yeah,
exactly.
Exactly. Right? So, but as a writer and a marketer and all that kind of stuff, you kind of never stop. I mean, I know like during the Christmas break, right? I might not expect anyone to get back to me, but I'm still sending out stuff. Like we don't stop. They may stop, but we don't stop.
Right. So it's good to know. Yeah. Right. Keep writing and keep networking.
Right.
But don't be afraid if you don't hear anything.
Right, because you never know. They could have on a little break while they're on vacation. They just could. Let me check my email. That you just never know. That's why.
Yeah, a lot of these people are workaholics. They're glued to their phones constantly. You know, they don't know how to turn it off.
Right.
But yeah, Thanksgiving to Sundance, things tend to slow down.
Yeah.
Oh, good to know, guys. We have come to the end. What?
Wait. Can I add something real quick?
I can't stop the show yet. All right.
I'm sorry. I just thought of this. I just saw it on my thing. October is usually the beginning of the fiscal period. So the beginning of their budgets, and that's usually October is that time. So
Yeah,
as you see, like Sony.
Is that when they staff TV shows? When do they staff TV shows?
Well, staff is usually July,
Sooner.
August, and then there's another one like end of January.
Yeah, it's different. There's like and then there's like mini staffing in October.
Exactly, right.
Yeah,
Right.
TV's a whole different beast.
TV's a whole different thing, right? But what I was saying was, as you can see, like Sony is spending crazy on specs right now, just because I know Michael DeLuca's there, but October is the new budget, so it's kind of like every year they have how much they're going to spend. So Sony's like spending kind of crazy on specs right now. They spent like on 4 of them. They spent like maybe like 1.2 on each of them. It was crazy. Like, whoa, really? Because it's the new year, so the new fiscal year.
So that makes sense.
So they're flush with cash.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So that's just a little tidbit that just.
That's interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Cool. Good to know. Well, guys, thank you.
Thank you.
You have cut it in another fun episode with a lot of good humor from Nicole and everybody.
Yeah, no, it's going to take more than empty, vain. You know, you're trying to butter me up. It's not working. I'm not falling for it.
A gift basket. Maybe a muffin basket.
A muffin basket.
Money, cash. I'll take money.
Cash.
Yeah.
In pennies. Send it in pennies.
I'm working on that. Okay, cool.
Large denominations preferred. Yeah.
Well, please, everyone, say goodbye and thank you, Nicole Jones-Dion, for being here. What are you working on right now?
Oh, what am I working on? I actually just got a new deal memo yesterday for a new ghost story that should keep me busy through the end of the year. So good times.
Very good. Margaret Risley, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm just finishing off a true story that it's my passion. So I'm loving that one. So I just finished it.
Oh, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And Jeff Burns, thanks for being here, man. Well, you've got, we know you're working with Sci-Fi, or are you still pitching them, or?
No, they didn't go forward with that one, but that's okay, because I am actually still going to be working on that sci-fi-based Android script, which I'm very excited about, and it's a great relationship with them now going forward. And also, I just mentioned, if there's anybody watching this, if you dug the game we played today, on the show I co-host, Super Geeked Up, we do a game like that and a lot of other improv-based games every week. Wednesday nights at 11 p.m. every week we do it, so you can go check that out if you want some other fun zaniness and ridiculous shenanigans. And that's at youtube.com/SKU web series. And thanks for having me.
That's 11 Eastern time, right?
Yes, thank you. 8 p.m. Pacific.
Yeah. Cool. Heidi Mastrogiovanni, thank you for joining us. What are you working on?
Thank you so much, Anne. Thanks for bringing us together. Thanks to the panel. Thanks to our fabulous audience. And if you look at Verdine and Glenita on Facebook, you'll see what's going on with a town called Peculiar, which is what we're pitching for a full, full cable, full network, full comedy series. So we'll keep you posted. Come visit us. Come say hi. Stop by. Have a drink.
I'll put up the link.
Thank you. Thank you.
Eric Ingram, thank you for being here, being your cool, bad self.
Always a pleasure. Always.
What are you working on?
Finishing up a family comedy, and then there's a writing assignment that I can't announce just yet. But along with that,
I like that.
And then I might also have another punch-up job. So, and hopefully next time when we do this, I'll be able to say exactly what it is. So.
Oh, great.
Cool.
Great. I love that. Love to hear that. I love to hear that everyone's working. Yay! And I'm working on actually the second book in this series I've done for a romantic suspense novel.
Fabulous.
It's been fun, and it was originally a script, so it's been fun to turn it into a book series. But thank you once again, guys.
Thank you.
Again for 2 more episodes for the end of the year. But I know you guys are super busy all the time, and so I really appreciate you being here and giving us your time.
We appreciate you. Thank you so much for bringing us together.
Absolutely. I love it. Thank you, everybody. Happy writing out there.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for watching.